Love and greetings to all of you present here in person and to all those who are participating in this satsang remotely online. Today's topic is understanding the nature of the soul. It is the 10th in the series of discourses on the Bhagavad Gita as interpreted by Gurudev Paramahansa Yogananda Ji in his unique book, God Talks with Arjuna. We are not here to understand the nature of the soul out of academic interest or for intellectual satisfaction. The understanding should give us and help us in dealing with the challenges we face in daily life and in attaining the goal of life, that is perpetual joy. That is the purpose. We want to understand the nature of the soul, not out of curiosity or out of academic interest. With this in view, let us study. Bhagavad Gita deals with this topic in the second chapter, Sankhya Yoga, particularly slokas 11 to 30. Last time, we studied the first 5 of those, that is 11 to 15. We will resume our study from the 16th day. To pick up the thread of continuity, let us briefly review what we studied last time. Most people in this world do not recognize the existence of the soul. Common man takes care of his body and his mind and totally oblivious of the soul at all. No. Someone prayed like this: God, if there is a God, save my soul if I have a soul. For him, the concept of soul is as mysterious as that of God. He has no clue. Although he is so close to that in day-to-day life. We all have these bodies. Say, I have this human body. I have a responsibility to take care of this body by right diet, right exercise. Isn't it true? When I do so, the body in turn gives me health and mobility. But I also have a mind, and I have to cultivate my mind by positive thinking and intellectual pursuits. When I do that, mind in turn gives me intelligence, ability to get along with others. Many people stop there, but I also have a soul. I have nourished my soul. The nourishment for the soul is meditation. When I nourish my soul properly, in turn, soul gives me intuition, creativity, perfect love, and unconditional joy. The unconditional joy, ever new joy, Nitya Naveen Anand, comes from the soul, not from body and our mind. In other words, in addition to catering of the demands of the body and desires of the mind, we should also recognize the needs of the soul and fulfill them. Demands of the body desires of the mind, and also the needs of the soul we have to fulfill. To put it in a simplified way, acknowledge, attune, and attain. Acknowledge the existence of the soul. Understand and attune to the nature of the soul, and attain the goal of life, which is Satchidanand. Acknowledge, attune, and attain. Now, briefly, the meaning of slokas 11 to 15. Those who always weep and complain that the life is filled with bitter things reveal the narrowness of their minds. Guruji says so. Like children, they keep complaining. Parents know that they're trivial things they are worried about, these complaints. Similarly, those who are complaining that life is full of bitter things and unfair events, they are also really complaining trivial things, because these are all about body and mind, what we are complaining about. But we are really the souls. When we attune ourselves with that soul, these won't appear to be any more complaints, just experiences, passing experiences. It's like this. If you go to ocean, you can complain that ocean is very restless, waves coming and going, very restless. But if you want to experience the real ocean, you have to go into the ocean. Then you see vast stillness. That is real sea, real ocean, not just the waves. Another point that we understood last time is when one dies, there is no annihilation to the soul. It only changes the body, incarnation after incarnation. That we should realize, there is no annihilation to the soul. We should understand and affirm that I am not this body, I am the soul, the tenant inside. I am the tenant, not the house. Then heat and cold, pain and pleasure are produced by the senses when they come in contact with their objects. Bear them with equanimity. That's the advice. Because they are in the realm of our senses, heat and cold, pleasure and pain. But you are not the senses. You are the soul inside. So bear them with patience, endurance. It's possible. The example is this. When a city boy gets hurt in a game in the school, he may make a big fuss out of it. Doctors, this, that, etc. Whereas a village boy with the same injury in a sport may not even recognize it. He just bears it. The same injury. We get endurance. Endurance. And another example that we studied last time was that of anvil. Nihai, anvil. Anvil is used by blacksmith. On that, he changes the shape of small iron pieces. For instance, if there is an iron rod round in cross section, that he can take it and hammer it to make it to flat and then bend it. All the time he is using the anvil, but anvil is giving support, but anvil is not changing. Only the piece of iron, that is changing the shape, not the iron. Similarly, the soul is like an anvil. It is not changing. The body is changing. Mind is changing. So be like the anvil, which watches what's happening to this body and to the mind. You are that anvil. You are that soul on which it's happening. But that is why People like Gandhiji, Guruji's father, they could allow surgeons to do surgery on their body without anesthesia, because they could identify themselves with the soul which is supporting this body. They could withdraw their consciousness from this body. It's possible because we are real souls. Souls. That's what we studied last time. Now we'll take up slokas 16 and 17 together. I request Swami Vasudevananji to sing.
नासितो विद्यते भावो न भावो विद्यते सतः उभयोरपि दृष्टोऽन्तः त्वनयोस्तत्त्वदर्शिभिः अविनाशि तु तद्विद्धि येन सर्वमिदं ततम् विनाशम् अव्ययस्यास्य न कश्चित् कर्तुमर्हति नासतो विद्यते भावो न भावो विद्यते सतः उभयोरपि दृष्टोऽन्तः त्वनयोस्तत्त्वदर्शिभिः अविनाशि तु तद्विद्धि येन सर्वमिदं ततम् विनाशम् अव्ययस्यास्य न कश्चित् कर्तुमर्हति.
The plain meaning given by Guruji in God Talks to Arjuna goes like this. Of the unreal, there is no existence. Of the real, there is no non-existence. The final truth of both of these is known by men of wisdom. Know as imperishable the one by whom everything has been manifested and pervaded. No one has power to bring about the annihilation of this unchangeable spirit. Sounds too philosophical, but Guruji has given a very simplified explanation which we can understand easily. The senses say that a flower that was never born has shed no fragrance. Simple logic. If there is no flower, there is no fragrance. That's our understanding. But the garden rose, by its fragrance, declares its existence. Similarly, a star in the sky proclaims its presence by its radiance. But men of wisdom, they say that even this garden rose and this star in the sky are also not real. Because even a garden rose fades away at some point. Afterwards, where is its fragrance? Where is its existence? Similarly, many a star disappeared with time. So what is real is the essence behind this. The essence behind this rose, the essence which has made the star, they are real. That essence we are interested, not in these passing ones. I mean, that we have to understand thoroughly. But they are all real for us, garden rose, and these are all real, whatever we see. They are real. I would like to share with you one experience I had. That time I was in Ranchi. My office was fronting a lawn, just a small office, just in front, few steps and then an office. One day, after my morning meditation and breakfast, I went to my office. I just started my regular work, opened my computer, I was working. Then there was a telephone call. My mobile rang. I answered. It is from one of our devotees who was placed very high in the government office. So he gave me a good news. Swamiji, our application has been approved, and now we can start the project. Now we have applied for some approvals, government was taking time, and he helped us with that. Eventually it was approved. When he gave that news, I was so happy. So long we have been waiting, now it's clear. I could really see that happiness I was enjoying. The project now we can start, etc. In that happiness, enjoying, the chair, I just leaned back like that. Chair has 4 legs. First 2 legs came up this way, and the back was very close. Wall is there. Just enjoying. I was balanced, enjoying. After maybe a minute or two, I just opened my eyes and saw a snake was there, very close. And the snake was crawling and was just climbing the wall. It just going, and very close to me, very close. And I wanted to come forward, but it was not stable, So I could not immediately come down and run away, because I was there in the air like this. And this was climbing. My heart started pumping, sweating. All that joy of good news is gone. Instantaneously. All that now only heart pumping. I could see that, and already sweating started. I don't know, just going, coming. Very, very, I can't imagine that time, then I woke up. Do you understand what happened? All this was a dream. It didn't really happen. It was all a dream, that good news and happiness, and then the snake and fear and sweating and all that was. Now if I continue with my dream, what you would say? Oh, big deal, what is there? Anything can happen. That's not real. Why are you worried about it? You are not no more interested. If I say anything further, until now you are very interested. What happened? What happened? But now once you say it's a dream, you are not interested. But it was real to me. So much so, it may be a dream. There is no reality in that. But why is that sweating? My heart, even after I woke up, my heart was still pumping hard. I could see that because it was real. Not only mentally, even physiologically it was real. That's why heart was responding that way, sweating was there. It was that trace of, that effect was so much that that was the night time it happened. Next day morning when I went to office, first I looked and then sat. I mean, it was so real in a way. It was real, it happens. Now, the same thing, all the experiences we are going through, they are real. The emotions we go through, the victories, the failures we have in life, the relationships we have, these are all true. But they are true, real, as long as we are in this cosmic delusion. Once we wake up from this dream, then it's gone. After we woke up, it's gone eventually. All that snake, everything is gone out of my mind. Similarly, all this experience will go. Who is dreaming this cosmic dream? Who is dreaming? God? Who is God? My higher self. It's me that's dreaming especially. I am in this cosmic dream. And I am going to wake up one day. That means I am going to identify myself more with that soul than with this body and mind. Generally I am identified, attuned with my body and soul. That's why body and mind, that's why all these are so real to me. So attune yourself with your soul, then you are different. That is the idea. Until then, it's all real. What all we are going through, everything is real in this world. Until we wake up. And we are going to wake up. We are going to wake up. That is why we want to understand that what is the nature of the soul and how we can attune with that so that we wake up from this dream. Next, let us take up next 2 slokas, 18 and 19.
अंतवन्त इमे देहा नित्यस्योक्ताः शरीरिणां अनाशीनो प्रमेयस्य तस्माद्धुद्वस्वभारत य एनं वेत्ति हन्तारं यश्चैनं मन्यते हतम् उभौ तौ न विजानीतो नायं हन्ति न हन्यते अन्तवन्त इमे देहा नित्यस्योक्ताः शरीरिणः अनाशीनो प्रमेयस्य तस्माद्धुद्यस्वभारत य एनं वेत्ति हन्तारं यश्चैनं मन्यते हतम् उभौ तौ न विजानीतो नायं हन्ति न हन्यते.
Guru's translation. Regarded as having a termination of existence are these fleshly garments. Immutable, imperishable, and limitless is the indwelling self. With this wisdom, O Bharata, battle thou. He who considers the self as the slayer, he who deems that it can be slain, neither of these knows the truth. The self doesn't kill, nor it is killed. Now here, God talks to Arjuna clearly explains that the devotee should be aware of the inner battle that's taking place between good and evil tendencies within. As a result, as a devotee, I am more concerned about the Kurukshetra inside me rather than that Kurukshetra which took place 3,000 years ago out there in Haryana. Here, that's what it is between the tendencies of the senses and the true nature of the soul. That Kurukshetra. Guruji's interpretation. Krishna therefore tells Arjuna, concentrate on your inner self, the image of the eternal spirit, which like it is immortal. Fear not to fight the senses and to destroy the attachment to the body. This, sooner or later, you will be compelled to do. Fighting the senses means what? We don't fight with our ears and eyes. We are fighting with the tendencies, the desires of the senses. That trying to get control. We are going to gain self-control. That is what is meant by fighting the senses. Fear not. You are not really making the senses ineffective. You are only conquering the tendencies of the senses. Senses will be there to serve you in good actions. So fear not to fight the senses because you will have to do it anyway. Rather, you will be compelled to do it. How long you would like to go on, eat whatever you want? We have to eat whatever we need, whatever is appropriate. I can't go on eating whatever I want. I will be compelled at some point, if not now, as we are aging, at some point I will be compelled to give up this, which I have been enjoying earlier. So we will be compelled to fight the senses. So why not now? So that we gain control over this body and mind, and we become attuned to the soul. And next, other thing is, eventually only the body dies, not the soul. Body is killed, not the soul. And who kills? Here, Arjuna is worried that he had to kill his own friends and relatives. That was his predicament. I had to kill. Then Bhagavan Krishna says that who is killing? His soul cannot be killed. You are killing the person who wronged. Who wronged? I mean, that physical body, not the soul. Soul is eternal. Neither soul can be killed, nor a soul can kill another one. I mean, that is the idea. Like Guruji gives this explanation that like in a motion picture, villain is there, villain kills someone. That's only for 3 hours or 2 hours. Afterwards, villain is there. The person who killed was there. Everyone is there. It's only the lights and shadows gave that impression that someone killed someone else. Similarly here, it's only one body, maybe destroying the other one, but the soul is not so intact. But Guruji also wants that this deep philosophy should not be misused and say that let's destroy our enemies. He troubled me, let's destroy him, because I am not going to do anything. It's only soul. I am soul, but this body, if I destroy, what does it matter? Because soul can neither be destroyed nor it can destroy and destroy or harm my enemies. No, that's not true. That's not correct. Because in a courtroom, because such philosophy, I can destroy my enemies because I am not affecting their souls. That doesn't impress God nor police. In a courtroom once, the one murderer, he was being tried, he said, "My lord, I didn't kill, this knife killed." And the judge said, "I will not punish you, this pen is punishing you." So he gets the same thing. pen. Because if we do all these things, these yama niyama principles are required in living. The deep philosophy should not be misused, misunderstood to do whatever we want to do. It's not only killing others, even misusing, overeating or over watching TV. All these things have to be controlled. We can't say that we're not responsible. Ultimate burden is on the soul, because it is reincarnating. For example, it doesn't go with one lifetime. Any troubles we have made. One person was traveling by train. And as per rules, for the class he was traveling, 35 kilos of luggage is allowed. Anything beyond that he has to pay extra. But he had 45 kilos. So what he did is, he made it into two. One is 35 kilos, other is 10 kilos. The 35 kilos of baggage are kept there next to his seat, and 10 kilos he carried on his head, thinking that I am carrying. When ticket collector comes and says that, I am carrying only 35, this 10 I am carrying. But eventually it is the burden on the train. Train is carrying. Similarly, we may do something, my soul is eternal, it can't harm others, etc., I can harm others. No. You are eventually the soul attached to this body, that has done this one, that result cannot be escaped. The burden is ultimately on the soul, because next incarnation it has to pay whatever we do. So that 10 kilos also we have to pay. And he was charged. Next 20th sloka, Swamiji.
न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचि न्यायम् भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे.
The English translation of this Sanskrit sloka, as given by Guruji. This self is never born, nor does it ever perish. nor having come into existence, will it again cease to be. It is birthless, eternal, changeless, ever same. It is not slain when the body is killed. Here there are 2 points. One is the eternal nature of the soul. At the same time, the changes that take place in the body in which the soul is residing. The 2 points are mentioned here. Eternal nature means once we have existence as souls, that individuality is maintained always. It's always there. Even after getting merged in divinity, still that is there, that identity is there. See, now oftentimes we say that the individual soul is like a wave and God is ocean. No, waves come and merge in ocean. So when wave comes, it dances as if it has independent existence. After some time later, it goes back into sea. Another wave comes. Will you ever say that the same wave came again? No, that wave lost its identity. Some other wave comes, not the same wave, depending on the wind pattern. So it lost its, but it's not that way. We may be waves. God is ocean. But even after the wave merges in ocean, I may merge in God, but still I maintain the identity. That's why we say that such and such saint is born reincarnated. When a saint achieved God, he merged with God. God realization was there and he merged with God. But we say, we don't say God reincarnated, but we say that saint reincarnated. But means that identity is maintained. That not only for saints, for you and me also. Identity is maintained. Say, in this incarnation, you are Pratap, I am Smaranananda. Not only in this incarnation, even after much later also, we know that we are like this. We are like this. Maybe if our memory is strong enough, one day we will meet again and recall this. On that day in Noida, you are here, I am here. Maybe we will recall. The identity is maintained. Identity. That's one thing, which meant having come into existence, will it again never cease to be. Having come into existence, soul never cease to be. It is always there, the identity. At the same time, the body, as part of matter, is spoken of as undergoing the following 6 transformations of impermanent nature. Transformations are there. They are also of impermanent nature. What are these things? Birth, existence, development, change, decay, and annihilation, death. These are all for the body. And let me read this long passage of Guruji's, very, very, very pertinent. He says, the deep truths of Gita should not be looked upon as metaphysical abstractions, but should be applied in daily life, particularly during these times when cosmic delusion presents, sickness, physical torture, the experience of ordinary death, and morbid thoughts of the impermanency of the body. One should strongly counteract these negative suggestions by remembering the truth that the self is reflected, spirit immortality, ever itself, and free from the whims of change. Because in sickness, this is a practical utility, the concept. In sickness, we feel, what is this? What is this? Then we should understand that I am not this body which is going through sickness. I am temporarily encased here. I am temporarily residing here. It's going through. Let me see what I can do to repair this house, to get rid of this disease, while going through this with even mind. But that should be the thought, because I am not this, I am not this. That's why we should understand it appropriately. There is a beautiful cosmic chant given by Guruji. Oh, life is sweet, death a dream. Oh, health is sweet, sickness, a dream. Health is there. It's like so sweet. I enjoy. When there is sickness, it's a dream. The dream passes away. We know that even dream, we're experiencing the emotions, but it passes away. Dream. Like that, this sickness also will pass away like a dream. That we have to use that so that we are not severely affected by that sickness or any trouble we are going through. Use this concept. I am that soul which is eternal, not this. I am the anvil. I am seeing only this and peace which is going through changes. That concept should be there. That concept. Guruji continues. Thus, does the Gita emphasize the following qualities of the self? Means the soul. It is unborn, though in a body. The soul is unborn, though it is in a body. It is changeless, though its bodily dwelling is impermanent. It is ever the same, though in the long pathway of incarnation, which ultimately leads to God, the soul appears in countless forms. The soul is not slain when the body dies. And when the soul returns to spirit, it doesn't lose its identity but will exist unto everlastingness. A beautiful description of what you are and what I am. That's what we should understand more and more and live by. Remember, you have to recollect these, the qualities of the soul which we are. Next, we will take up the two slokas together, 21 and 22.
Veda vinashinam nityam yaenamajama vyayam katham sapurushaha partha kam ghatayati hantikam vashansi jinani yatha vihaya navani granati naro parani tatha sharirani vihaya jina yanyani sanyati navani dehi veda vinashinam nityam yaenamajama vyayam katham sapurushaha partha kam ghatayati hantikam vashansi jinani yatha vihaya navani granati naro parani tatha sharirani vihaya jina yanyani sanyati navani dehi.
The English translation given by Guruji. How can he who knows the self to be imperishable, everlastingly permanent, birthless and changeless, possibly think that the self can cause the destruction of another? O Partha, whom does it slay? Just as an individual forsaking dilapidated raiment dons new clothes, so the body encased soul, relinquishing decayed bodily habitations, enters others that are new. This is easy to understand. Again, senses. Regarding senses, Guruji says, this sloka conveys also a deep metaphysical lesson. The soul, Krishna, says to the ego Arjuna, O my lower self, you must lift yourself to my plane of higher consciousness. Even if you destroy the wicked attachments of the senses, you are foolish to think that the senses themselves will be destroyed. Your higher self only purifies the lower self, it doesn't destroy it. We don't destroy the senses because in this Kurukshetra that's going on within, We are definitely fighting the Kauravas, which are representatives of senses. Senses. We are fighting the senses means only the inclinations of the senses. For example, tongue. It's not that we annihilate the tongue and its perceptions. It's a question of how much to eat and what to eat. That's the question, what to eat and how much to eat. Similarly, watching TV is not prohibited. Eyes are there to help us to enjoy TV, but what to watch and how much to watch? I mean, that's the question. That is what the advice here. The higher, we have to lift ourselves to higher consciousness from lower consciousness. We are purifying the lower consciousness. Not that we are annihilating the senses, we are purifying the senses. In other words, we are gaining self-control. And once there is self-control, be it with eating, or listening, or watching, or touching, whatever it is, whenever there is self-control, we really enjoy the resultant freedom from habits. Resultant freedom, from going down the hill. There is so much freedom when there is self-control. If you don't do this, which should not be done, there is a lot of freedom, inner joy. That is the advice given here. Guruji also says, on the other hand, if he transmutes his greed for the physical greed for food into greed for continuous communion with God, he doesn't destroy his excessive appetite but changes it from an evil agent to a medium for good. Desire for food should be transmuted into desire for God. And next part is, in life, one after another, so many dresses we wear, and we use a dress with a lot of interest, and after some time we lose interest in that. It's old. And at some point we get a new one and completely discard this. We are happy actually. We do that, discard the old garment with sense of joy only. Joy, we leave it. Similarly, death should be considered that way. Death is not for me. Death is not for my soul. Death is for the body in which I am tenanted. I am living. So when I am losing this to death, I am going to get something better. That consciousness we should develop, because I am the soul which is going to get another house, which are going to get another house, another garment I am going to get. Always anything new is going to be interesting. Not only that, we have to understand that death is a promotion, a spiritual promotion, to get another opportunity in a better environment for our onward progress spiritually. It's always a promotion, always. It's a transformation rather than annihilation. It is an upward evolution rather than blotting away of our existence. Death doesn't blot away our existence. It's only onward. Also, look death like this. Because we always have that fear, ultimately what happens. We are continuously progressing spiritually. Continuously are progressing. And all that is accumulated here now, spiritual progress, will help us to be in a better environment. So next time I will be in a place where I am little closer to God, dearer to Guruji. I am progressing. So that is a place, a better palace than what I am living now. One more thing. Guruji said that when you cross the threshold, enter another life, then one of the gurus will usher you. One of the gurus. So death can be viewed as a beautiful decorated arch. where the transition is made. I am in this place, and there is a beautiful arch which is leading me to a better place, a better palace where I am going to live. Spiritually, it is much more advanced. And not only that, I am also not alone. As I am crossing this, I am being ushered by one of my gurus. Have that understanding that we are not left alone, and we are going to a better place. So, who doesn't like new clothes? So we should also look for that new cloth we are going to don. It's not sadness that should dominate, but doesn't mean that we invite death. We don't invite death, but we're not afraid of it. That's it. And to understand this, one has to meditate regularly. Because only in meditation, especially the stillness born of meditation, there we glimpse the nature of soul. Because in stillness what? In stillness we don't feel the weight of this body. I am so light. I am so light there. There I am beyond my likes and dislikes. It is just pure consciousness. So just joy. If we are meditating more and more, spend more and more time in stillness, we get used to that ever new joy. We get used to that glimpse of the final ultimate bliss that we are really. So we get used to that. Then there will be something to look forward to. I am going there. So meditation helps us, trains us, to be prepared for the transition. So let's meditate, make use of all the conditions we have. Make use of it to meditate more and more, longer and longer, deeper and deeper. Then we'll understand, yes, there is a joy. I am the joy. That means I am with the soul. I am identifying myself with the soul, which is joy. Just one analogy. Just to prod us to spend more time in spiritual pursuits. One king invited some of his noble officers and those kings which are under him, And a party was going on, the function, and in that the king gave very valuable, expensive robes to each one of them, the guests. He gave very expensive clothes he gave. The function was going on. Then one of the officers in the kingdom, he had cough and sneezing. Then what he did is he took this gift he received from king, that robe, and wiped his nose. He just like that he did it. King saw it and was annoyed. Then he addressed the minister sitting next to him and said, "See, he insulted me. I gave him such a valuable, expensive gift, and he using it to wipe his nose." No, he was annoyed, insulted. Then minister said, "I wonder, Rajan, what God is thinking about us. God gave us this expensive, valuable gift of body. Human body is very precious. It has spine with chakras, sahasrara. It has. And we can meditate. Human body, a bird cannot meditate. A cow cannot meditate. We can meditate, make use of chakras, invoke them, go to higher realms of consciousness. But are we making use of? A valuable gift God has given us. But what God is thinking? No doubt I am making use of this body. What am I making use? Tongue. Regularly I use it, without fail. I use my eyes, ears, skin, all this I use my senses. But I don't use so much my chakras. Isn't it good analogy? God is annoyed. I'm sorry, here. King was annoyed, felt insulted. Only difference is God is not annoyed. And he doesn't feel insulted. He has infinite patience, that's all. But it's for us. Otherwise, we will be insulting ourselves actually. We will be depriving ourselves as the benefits of this human body, benefits of the chakras, the consciousness. How do we make use of this body? How do we take advantage of the chakras? Meditation, yoga, meditation. That's why we have to meditate more and more. Then we will be pleasing not only ourselves, we will be pleasing Guruji and God also. Because we are going to make use of this beautiful, valuable gift. Next, let's go to slokas 23 and 24.
Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavakah, na chainam kledayantyapo, na shoshayati maruta, अच्छेद्योयमदायोऽयम् अकलेद्यो शोष्य एव च नित्यः सर्वगतस्थाणुः अचलोऽयं सनातनः नैनं छिन्दन्ति शस्त्राणि नैनं दहति पावकः न चैनं क्लेदयन्त्यापो न शोषयति मारुतः अच्छेद्योऽयमदायोऽयम् अकलेद्यो शोष्य एव च नित्यः सर्वगतः स्थाणुः अचलोऽयं सनातनः.
The English translation given by Gurudev. No weapon can pierce the soul, no fire can burn it, no water can moisten it, nor can any wind wither it. The soul is uncleavable, it cannot be burned, or wetted or dried. The soul is immutable, all permeating, ever calm and immovable, eternally the same. More or less the same description. Eternal nature of the soul. Let me read out Guruji's explanation. No matter how devastating, the dreamer is never hurt by the happenings in his dream. He finds himself safe after the dream is over. Because that snake didn't harm me at all. How devastating, how painful it was. It was, for some time. But it didn't harm me. Similarly, how whatever we are going through, all these experiences, how maybe very painful, but eventually they are not going to touch our souls when we wake up. Let's wake up as soon as possible. That's the message. And one more interesting point Guruji gives here. His words, no matter how much one has been meditating, if he still becomes overwhelmed with bodily suffering, or is afraid of disease or death, he has advanced little and has realized little. The aspirant must meditate deeper and deeper until he can attain ecstatic communion with God and thus forget the limitations of the body. We have to meditate. Meditation is not just a habit, little bit, meditate. Just spend some 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour. Meditate deeper and longer, regularly, so we get used to that ecstatic communion. We get used to that ever new joy. That may not stay with us throughout 24 hours. But at least those periods, let's get used to it, have a taste of it. During meditation, Guruji says, he must not only think, but realize that he is formless, omnipresent, omniscient, far above all bodily changes. This is what exactly meditation can do to us. When we meditate, you don't feel this body is 60 kilos. You feel that weightlessness. You are not this body. You are like almost like You are a witness to this body, witness to this body. And that consciousness that you are not this body will start dawning on us. That will come bit by bit, bit by bit. When that comes, then we know that this soul cannot be moistened by water, it cannot be burnt by fire. All those things become a reality to us by our own experience. Again, whatever we do, whatever we read, whatever we it all comes to back one point: meditate. There is no substitute for meditation. We cannot go on talking about meditation. We have to be doing it. You remember that analogy which we studied some time back? In business, there is silent partner. Sleeping partner, styling partner they call, because he has financial interest, but he is not involved in day-to-day affairs. He is silent partner. In tennis, we have a non-playing captain. He goes with the team, he doesn't play, but he's captain, non-playing captain. That is all right. Silent partner is okay in business. In tennis, non-playing captain is okay. But did you ever hear about non-practicing yogi? Do you want to be one? You are a student of YSS SRF. You are a disciple of Paramahansa Yoganandaji. You admire him. You follow him. Just that you don't meditate long enough. That is non-practicing yogi. It doesn't work. If you want to be a yogi, you have to be practicing. There is only practice, meditation. That's what, whatever we say comes to that, eventually meditate. Next 3 slokas, 25, 26 and 27.
Avyaktoyam chintayoyam avikaryoyamuchyate tasmadevam viditvenam nanusocitumarhasi atha chainam nityajatam nityavamanyase mritam tathapi tvam mahabhavo naivam socitumarhasi jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu dhruvam janma mritasya cha tasmat pariharyarthe na tvam socitumarhasi avyaktoyam chintyoyam avikaryoyamuchyate tasmadevam viditvenam nanusocitumarhasi atha chainam nityajatam nityam vamanyase mritam tathapi tvam mahabhavo naivam socitumarhasi jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu dhruvam janma mritasya cha tasmat pariharyarthe na tvam socitumarhasi.
The plain translation given by Gurudev. The soul is said to be imponderable, unmanifested and unchangeable. Therefore, knowing it to be such, thou should not lament. But if thou dost imagine the soul instantly to be born and to die, even in that case, O Arjuna, thou should not grieve for it. For that which is born must die, and that which is dead must be born again. Why then should thou grieve about the unavoidable? Guruji's explanation. God sent man to earth to be entertained by the bodily dreams, not to obscure his consciousness of immortality by being identified with the body. It is therefore foolish for one to grieve about the bodily changes of which the soul, the self, is the changeless witness. Very simple. We are here in this creation, in this world, to see this world as an entertainment. When we watch something and a movie is going on, it's entertainment, Whatever emotions we have, they are temporary. We are just going through. But here the difference is this. Here in this cosmic drama, we are actors as well as audience. If you are only audience, that's different. But we are also actors, don't forget that. We are also actors. So to really be audience, we have to identify ourselves with the soul. Then we can watch this without much involvement. Otherwise, we are just part of that entertainment, giving entertainment to others. And we are going through the emotions. So we have to have that consciousness about this. Because bodies and mind, they are playing a role. Soul has to be above this to be able to enjoy. Essentially, we are both actors and audience at the same time. To play our roles better, we have to have that guidance, inner guidance. Follow the moral principles, yama niyamas. Also express and experience the divine love in daily life. Again, express and experience that unconditional joy. Love and joy are the qualities of the soul. They are the nature of God. So that is the training we have to receive and we have to express in daily life, that love and joy and wisdom. Now, meditation definitely helps us. See, in daily life we have to take many decisions. Some are major, some are minor. Daily life we have to take decisions. How do we take our decisions? Generally, our decisions are based on our likes, dislikes, and past experience. I want to do this because I like to do it. I like it, so I will do this. I don't want to do this because I don't like it. Decisions are quite often based on likes and dislikes and past experience. But any decision that's solely based on likes and dislikes may not be the right one. There are the right ones. Similarly, past experience may not be the right experience we had to decide what to do in future. So the decision should be based on forethought. We should be able to see what could happen. Even if we don't know exactly what could happen. Intuition. That should be the basis of decisions. Then it would be right. Intuition. And we are all equipped with that faculty of intuition, sixth sense. We all have that intuition, but it's dormant. Intuition manifests in the calmness, stillness born of deep meditation. When we are still, and you can actually examine yourself. When you are still after meditation, you are free from likes and dislikes. I myself can vouch for that. Sometimes I think this way, and this is what's going to happen. I'm very clear about events. I like this, I don't like this. Things are there. Maybe I'm likely to do this. Then I go for meditation. After meditation, after kriya, etc., after stillness is there, and just think about it. What I thought was completely different from what I have now. In my mind is completely different. Oh no, how does it matter? It's completely different. Because temporarily I am there, being guided by intuition. God's guidance is there. That is why, to play our roles well, we have to keep meditating. We are both audience as well as actors. To play well, we have to keep meditating. There we get guidance from inside. Again, meditation is the key to understand the nature of the soul and to play our roles. Next, last three slokas, 28, 29 and 30.
Avyaktaadini bhutani vyaktamadhyani bharata avyaktanidhananyeva tatrika paridevana आश्चर्यवत् पश्याति कश्चित्तेन आश्चर्यवद्वदति तथैव चान्यः आश्चर्यवच्चैनमन्यः शृणोति श्रुत्वाप्येनं वेद न चैव कश्चित् देहि नित्यं वध्योऽयं देहे सर्वस्य भारत तस्मात् सर्वाणि भूतानि न त्वं शोचतिमर्हसि अव्यक्तादीनि भूतानि व्यक्तमध्यानि भारत अव्यक्तनिधनान्येव तत्रिका परिदेवना आश्चर्यवत् पश्याति कश्चित्तेन आश्चर्यवदति तथैव चान्यः आश्चर्यवच्चैनमन्यः शृणोति श्रुत्वाप्येनं वेद न चैव कश्चित् देहि नित्यं वध्योऽयं देहे सर्वस्य भारत तस्मात् सर्वाणि भूतानि न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि.
Vasudeva. The meaning: the beginning of all creatures is veiled, the middle is unmanifested, and the end again is imperceptible. O Bharata, why then lament this truth? Some behold the soul in amazement. Similarly, others describe it as marvelous. Still others listen about the soul as wondrous. And there are others who, even after hearing all about the soul, do not comprehend at all. O Bharata, the one who dwells in the bodies of all is eternally inviolable. Grieve not, therefore, for any created being. Through history, biology, and other sciences, man learns about manifested things. For example, I can understand what's happening between my birth and my death. What I can understand it using whatever means. But I can't understand what was before my birth and what's going to be beyond my death. Only this is the manifested period. This one. And then if it is limited only for this one little bit, why are you worried so much about it? Not eternal thing. History can give only this much information. Science can give only this much information, not before and not beyond. That only soul can give. What was and what will be and what is. Only soul can give. And one more point Guru said beautifully. Let's mark his words. He said, knowledge of the complete history of the series of incarnations of every man on earth and in heaven would not be worth the temporary loss of the blissful God contact. What does it mean? You may gather the knowledge about the information about all my incarnations previous. Not only that, I may know everything about all people and those who are in heaven. All this knowledge may be there, but that's not worth at the cost of losing God contact even for a little while. This knowledge is not as useful as the experience we have. Experience of that ever-new joy, Satchidanand, is much more than the knowledge. Knowledge is not important, but experience of divinity within, that is more important. That's the message here. That's beautifully put it here. So people who would like to gather more information, more knowledge, that's not going to fulfill the deepest needs of the soul. That's not going to take us much closer to God. But this experience, born of meditation, that we don't want to lose even momentarily. And next sloka, that is 29th, Guruji explains how the divinity is perceived, how God is experienced. Guruji's words, the three modes of perceiving the soul mentioned in this sloka, beholding, describing or speaking of, and listening about, imply three of the manifestations by which the soul reveals itself. The soul reveals in three ways. One, beholding the light. As light, God manifests. You know the soul. Next, wisdom. That means describing its wonder. Wisdom. Third, cosmic sound. Hearing, communion with the bliss imparting cosmic sound of Om. These are the three ways. One can see light and experience the soul. One can get that knowledge, description of soul. Other one can see soul as cosmic sound. I mean, these are the three ways God manifests himself. One can contact that soul in one of the three ways. Guruji continues, spirit and soul manifest as light, wisdom, and sound. When yogis develop deep intuition, they may experience the soul as an amazing mystical light. When devotees feel the soul as a ray of cosmic intelligence, they speak of it in terms of marvelous wisdom. Other persons perceive the soul as an exquisite, audible vibration of the wondrous cosmic sound or blissful Om. These are the three ways, light, sound, or wisdom. That one thing. Now, we have techniques, our Om technique to contact God in one of his aspects, that's sound vibration. And we see light while meditating, or while practicing Jyoti Mudra, we see light. That's manifestation of God. But one thing, whatever you lights you see, if it doesn't come with a sense of deep, deep joy, it's not of much use. It's not the light we want to see. We want to experience divinity in that process. Isn't it so? Is that light we want to see? Or you want to have the experience of divinity? The experience of divinity means that must come with a sense of fulfillment, with a sense of joy. That's important. If there is light, you see light in meditation or Jyoti Mudra, whenever, and people sometimes say that this is yellow, this is golden yellow. Last time it was lemon yellow. What is this? This is it called? Light blue, deep blue, sky blue. You keep thinking about this means we are far from that. We are seeing, no doubt, colors, not divine light. If anything divine light is that. Guruji said in the previous sloka, the knowledge of all incarnations of yourself and others, that's not of much use compared to that bliss you feel. Similarly, this light, just seeing lot to light, we should come with an experience associated with that. I mean, that is divinity. That is soul, nature of the soul. That joy comes, no doubt, it is. We don't always see this light. That light can be seen with closed eyes. God is behind the darkness of our closed eyes. So it's really interesting, definitely. But that should come not for ego satisfaction that I saw light, yellow light, blue light. It is with that experience of that divinity. Similarly, Om. What is Om? Cosmic sound, all sound, those sound which is not Om. Get merged in that. That experience should be there. Experience. Not sound, not light, mere outward. I mean, that's what. And last sloka, this is again Guruji's, the yogi, Guruji's words. The yogi, the man of perfect equilibrium, is neither hypersensitive nor stoically heartless. See, he is not hypersensitive in the sense, when body goes through problems, we have problems in life. He is not hypersensitive that everything lost. I'm so this, I'm like this. What is this? Complaints, weeping. That's not there. He's not hypersensitive. Problems are there. He bears them with an even mind. He bears them. Equilibrium is there. At the same time, he is not heartless. If someone else is suffering, either because of disease or because of bereavement or something else, he is not heartless to say, you are the soul, don't worry, nothing happened. You won't say that. It really happened something. No, I am with you. And let's go through this together. It takes time to understand. I mean, that he's not heartless, That's real yogi. Neither hypersensitive nor stoically heartless. No. He's not sensitive to his own problems. At the same time, he is compassionate for others who are going through. Let's not be overwhelming, others. And that is real nature. So, this is the true nature of the soul. Let's remember, we would like to understand the nature of the soul not out of academic interest or of intellectual satisfaction. I understand, soul is this, soul is that, it cannot be burnt, it cannot be moistened, etc. Not that way. How it's going to be useful for me, especially in times of difficulties. I mean, that is important. The knowledge of soul should help us in facing the challenges in our daily life. Knowledge of the soul should help us to go deeper in meditation, to attain our final goal, that is Satchidanand, the ever new bliss. I mean, that is the purpose. So, acknowledge, attune, and attain. Acknowledge the existence of the soul, attune to the nature of the soul, and attain the goal of life. But that is the message of Gita. In addition to catering to the demands of the body and desires of the mind, let us also fulfill the needs of the soul. Okay. Jai Guru.